You mentioned the word reflect. 3 weeks. You've had some time to reflect. Share with us your reflections of the Masters.
Well, I mean, they're all amazing memories, really. I don't think I've done as much of it as I will. I think I'm kind of saving a lot of it for when I go home to Australia with my family and friends to do it. I still feel we're in the middle of the season and this is not the overall goal. Hopefully this is just the start of the overall goal for me, and I can use this as a great springboard to achieving a lot this year. So I didn't want to reflect too much, but it's just all incredible. I mean, just the way the whole Sunday unfolded is what is amazing to me. I hardly thought out there at all. Only very, very late in the day, like on 17, I had thoughts of I could win. I never felt like I was going to win. I didn't have the momentum. I was just hanging in there. I was playing well. Nothing much was happening. You know, none of the special things that happen when you win were happening. But they ultimately did on 18 and then obviously in the playoff.
I remember saying to your manager, Justin, Adam won the Masters twice today. He won it on 18 and he won it on the second playoff hole. Did you feel like that?
Not really. I mean, making the putt on 18 was the coolest thing that day. That's for sure. You know, I knew it wasn't to win and I never thought it was over, but it certainly put me in a great position after making that putt. Angel had to come up with a great shot and he hit maybe the best shot of the day in there at a time when he had to. But I knew after making that putt, at least I was still in it. And you know, it's the putt. It was similar to the one O'Meara holed, and to so many players have holed putts on 18. So I think for me, the coolest thing will be that I've made a putt on 18. You know, it was a great putt at that moment to make.
To become part of Masters history. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Absolutely. I think, yeah. You know, there are so many unique traditions with our golf tournament. Now to be a part of that really for the rest of my life is, you know, something that I'm really excited about, that I'm going to be going back there for a long, long time. And I'll look forward to that day when they tell me, Adam, you're too old to play this tournament, you've got to stop. That's going to be a great thing. So, you know, it's amazing what I'll have to look forward to for the next 40 years or so.
It's my 25th Masters, and for 25 years I've been speaking to Australians about winning the Masters. And I've seen every one of you get big-eyed and talk about wanting to be the first Australian to do it. You're the first Australian to ever win the Masters. Your ties to Greg Norman. I mean, it's almost like poetic justice that you would be the one. But can you just talk a little bit about that, being the first Australian, your ties with Greg, and how good that felt?
Well, it's really icing on the cake that it turned out like that for me. It's been a long journey to get my first major. You know, I've shown everyone some potential over the years and never really delivered for a long time. The last couple of years I've been knocking on the door, and I've played a lot better in the big tournaments and believed I could win. I was seeing that in my game, but so for it to finally happen, to win a major, is amazing. And then, like I said, the icing on the cake, to be the first Australian to win. It's been 77 Masters without one, and Greg being so close, other guys, you know, we've got a fair list of guys who finished second as well. You know, for me, that's the nice little extra bit that'll always sit by my name in that tournament, at least in Australia anyway.
Can you talk about, so much has been expected of you from the time you came out to play professional golf. And while you've always achieved great things, it's still a burden in some ways that so much is expected. Does it feel relieving to have now a major behind you and look forward to winning lots more?
I think in so many ways, myself and some other guys my age have been really fortunate to be playing, you know, the last 10 or 12 years at this time. But in other ways it's been a negative, because expectations became so unrealistic from ourselves and everyone else after, you know, the year 2000 and what Tiger was able to do. And even his start, the years before, he won the Masters very young, and then he won a PGA very young, and then all of a sudden the floodgates opened and he won every major for a year. So everyone wanted his rival. Thinking back at that time, anyone who was showing any signs of potential was his next challenger. And he was playing a game so far advanced of anyone else at that point that it was completely unrealistic to think like that. And you know, there was certainly some pressure put on a few guys, but I think it had a negative impact on me in the big tournaments, just seeing how much better he was. And for a while there I felt like I made up the numbers in the big events. I played fine in the tour events but couldn't figure it out in the big events, and I just don't think all the pieces of the puzzle weren't there for me that early. It was going to be a journey, and as frustrating as that was, very rewarding now. But hopefully this is the start of what I've set out to accomplish as a golfer. It's not relief, it's just another rung up the ladder of my quest to be everything I've dreamed of being in golf, and that's how I have to look at it. It's a great motivator, like Lithium was for me. It's a great motivator, like the Masters was in 11. It was a great motivator. Sometimes when you get so near, it can hurt, but it can push you on further. And so to finally get one, I think is very rewarding. But also this is a great motivator for me to set up what could be a career year.
I don't know the exact saying, but there's a saying about, you know, people are a certain way when they win, but you can see their true character when they lose. Lithium for you. You handled that as perfectly as anyone could, but you got the lesson from it. So many times people don't get a lesson from defeat. Can you just talk about getting that lesson and how it helped you win the Masters?
Well, I always try and be as honest as I can with everyone, and you know, absolutely I was shocked and disappointed immediately after Lithium. But you know, I think I've had good grounding growing up as a kid with great family around me, and I've had great people around me my whole life. And I think I've got, now as I'm a bit older, I've got good perspective on things, and especially the game as well. And I know it's a cruel game. It really is, and there are so many ups and downs, and Lithium happened to be a tournament that I lost, and I've lost other tournaments as well, but I've also won a lot of tournaments too, and somehow I took it as a positive. Firstly, that I was controlling that major, and for me to have my game elevate to that level is something I've been working hard for, and I was there. I didn't close it, but I was hoping that can be just one of those anomalies that the more you're up there, the more you're going to win and the more you're going to lose. And this is the one that I lost, unfortunately. It was the first one that I really felt like I could have won. It was on my shoulders. And so it was important to take all the positives out of Lithium, and that's all I did. That was a motivator, and still the highlight of my year last year was Lithium, because that's all I've ever dreamed of, playing in that situation, you know, coming down the stretch of a major with a chance to win. And I had as good a chance as you'll ever get and didn't, but certainly pushed me to keep going because I was right there knocking on the door. And there you go, the next time I had a chance, you know, I took it and I won. And that's the game of golf. You know, Tiger is the anomaly because he wins them all, it seems, you know, he did for so long. And again, that's all expectation, and you've just got to deal with it the best you can. And like I said, Lithium for me was just such a positive. It was a step in the right direction for me, and I've got the history of closing out tournaments well, and I didn't do that one, but that's golf, and you don't want that to ever happen again. But if I'm up there a lot, I know, you know, there's a chance I could make some errors coming down the stretch, and it's just not your day. So I'll be trying my hardest not to have that happen, but that's the game of golf.
There's been a lot of talk about Lithium and about what that did to help you win the Masters. I wonder if it wasn't actually a year before, at the 2011 Masters, where you really became a major player, a major contender, a guy who could win majors. Is that fair?
I would definitely agree with that. I think it wasn't the lessons I learned at Lithium that helped me win the Masters this year.